What? Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, the next one is from Jonathan Palomo. Subject is Disco Inferno. Hey, it's John from Brooklyn, day one listener. 2 compliments. I love your social and political conversation. I keep it 100. Him and many others. 2, hell of a worker and should have had a bigger push during your stint in WCW. Not a question, but something to read. Bleacher Report put Disco over with an article on remembering WCW wrestling. Here is what they said. Disco Inferno should have never lasted a year in WCW. A wrestler with an unhealthy fascination with nostalgia of 1970s disco, he was a cartoon character who did not fit in an industry rapidly that was evolving by 1996. History tells us we should have gone the way of gimmicky wrestlers like WWE's Doink the Clown and Duke the Dumpster Droese. Instead, he remained a fixture of WCW programming through the demise of the company 6 years after his debut. That can be attributed to Glenn Birdie's willingness to seize any opportunity for screen time he got and do whatever was necessary to stand out. Whether he was having hellish bangers with Billy Kidman, Perry Saturn, and Dean Malenko, or taking an ass-kicking from the NWA Scott Hall or Kevin Nash, the talented performer made sure fans did not forget his contributions to that night's show. That he was an underrated in-ring worker could get the most out of anyone from Alex Wright to Lasharoo only helped his cause. Sometimes annoying, almost always obnoxious, he was the goofball you could have, but also wanted to see get obliterated by someone like Scott Steiner. Oh, so it's a goofball you could love. Gilberti constantly evolved, made himself the butt of the joke when necessary, and provided fans years of entertainment, even in the darkest days of the company. For that, he deserves far more recognition than he receives from fans and all critics alike. P.S. Lance Storm and his excellence, Sir Don Callis, were not on the list. Guess they were forgotten. Interesting. What do you think about the way Bleacher Report described me, Conan?
I agree with most of it, yeah.
You know the funny
the only thing I would disagree with where it said you were sometimes annoying, I would correct that to always annoying and still. But go ahead.
Okay. And I will say this on Twitter. This is what I find funny and entertaining is the fans that always the marks that always say Disco was a jobber.
Right.
Bro, like it's funny how that word, like the term has kind of like just been it's become just basically a word you use in a derogatory way to describe somebody.
Yeah, condescending.
Right, but just to give everybody context, okay, of what a jobber, the technical definition of the word jobber. A jobber is a part-time wrestler that was designed. He was going in there to lose to the guy that the wrestler that he was putting over, and he did not get his own ring entrance. He was just an insignificant part of the show that was just there to put over the moves of the guy that was going to beat him. But the jobbers did not get ring entrances. They weren't on contracts. They weren't on deals. They got paid, some places $40 to go out there and do something. But that's what a jobber was. Like that's the technical term for jobber. Now the term doing the job means you had the other guy was winning and you were losing. But doing the job and jobber are 2 completely separate terms. Like if you're doing the job, that does not mean you were a jobber. A jobber is a separate thing. A jobber was a guy that didn't have a ring entrance, just went up there and got squashed. But doing the job is means you're losing the match. So let's just clarify. Would you agree with the definition of those terms?
1,000%. Most people get it mixed up.